Hi, this is Charlie giving you an update on a special update on this Good Friday. Now, ESMA have come out with their rulings now, their final rulings that the margin changes that they've been proposing are going to be coming through in July of this year. Now, they had been proposing, I think it was to change leverage down to, I think it was 30 times, from anywhere, most spread bidders you're getting 100 or so, and that is actually coming in. And the margin proposes, we were assuming that they were going to they was going to find some mid ground, because but there's not. They've come through and they've said nope, this is what we're putting through. So people are going to find that the leverage that they can get is coming down, and the required margin on each trade is going up. So I'm just going to walk you through how this may or may not affect you. Now, before you all start thinking, well, that's it, I'm going to go and open up an account in Australia, I've already been told that Australian brokers will not accept applications from the EU, not directly to their Australian offices. So you'd have to, if you took one of the big Australian brokers, for example, they would only take business through their UK office anyway, so they won't actually accept your applications that way. So you can't get around it that way and go to Australia. Australia's regulations, they're obviously making sure that doesn't happen, that a load of people don't just go offshore. You can go to places like the Seychelles, I'm being told. I was in the city yesterday and there's a number of brokers opening up, not good brokers, by the way, dodgy brokers, but there are dodgy brokers opening up offices in the Seychelles of all places, and therefore you could open up an accounts over there and you can have whatever you like, 300 to 1 leverage, but I wouldn't really recommend that. Now, what's basically happening here is this is going to be a global thing anyway. So regulatory authorities around the world are all sort of coming in to line gradually with this, that they're all sort of trying to reduce the amount of leverage that's available to retail investors. So let's actually run through what this actually means, and I'm going to use one of the biggest retail brokers figures here in the UK, and that's IG's figures, pretty much IG's figures. So what they're saying here is that your current margin requirement is 0.5%. Now these are IG's figures. Now different brokers will have slightly different figures as regards to where they are now, but it's what they're going to which is important. So because they'll all be the same. So IG's current margin requirement is 0.5. Sorry, I can't write this morning. Is 0.5 of 1%, and it's going to increase. This is on FX major pairs, and it's going to increase to 3.3%. That's on FX majors. For stock indices, it's currently at 0.5. That's major stock indices, 0.5%, and that's going to increase tenfold to 5%. So for those of you that like trading the stock indices, you're going to you will notice that how much margin you're going to be required. It's 3.3 for, like I said, for so that's a 6.6 fold change for major FX. For minor FX pairs, I think it already was at 1% and it goes to 5%, so it's a 5-fold. For things like commodities like gold, it's currently at 0.7 of 1%, and that's going to increase to 5% as well. So that's a 7-fold increase. So that's going to 5% as well. So what does that actually mean to you when you're trading? Because I'm getting a lot of people panicking. Oh God, how am I going to do this? Okay, what's happening here? It's to try to curtail the gamblers out there, the people who put 500 quid in a trading account and try and trade it, however many pounds per point on that, and that will stop that completely. Let me actually talk you through how this will actually affect you. So, for example, these are on IG's figures, but this is what it will go to. So, let's say we're going to base this on pound a point trades. Okay, £1 a pip or £1 a point. Currently, on IG, if your margin required for a £1 a point trade is £61. All right, so it's £61. So you can see how someone can put 500 quid in a trading account, and they could still be trading with you know, £5 a point, for example, which they shouldn't be doing. So if they've got £500 in a trading account and they're trading at £5 a point, very quickly they could lose, well, at £5 a point, if it moves, market even moves 10 pips against them, that's 50 quid. That's 10% of their entire account. So they shouldn't be doing that. In fact, if someone's got £1 in their account, sorry, £500 in their trading account, they shouldn't be trading at £1 a point. Because at £1 a point, even if that moves 10 pips against you, then that still works out at 2% of your entire capital, and that's only with a 10 pip move. So it's too rich. But that's where that end of the market, the retail market, is going to, I'll say disappear. It's going to have to change. So those gamblers who they're putting 500 quid in a trading account, trading well over leveraged relative to the size of their accounts, that's going to disappear. All right. So for those of us who trade normally, shall we say, this is how it'll affect you. So let's go back to this scenario again. We've got our £1 a point trader, and that requires now it's going from £61 of margin to, for every £1 per pip, it's going to go to £402 roughly. Don't quote me completely on this, but it's about £402 on my calculations. Okay, so you can see where I'm going now. So if you've got £500 in a trading account, you can still trade at £1 a pip, but that's all you'll be able to do. You'll only be able to trade one market at a time at £1 a pip, because that will use up, you know, if you've got 500 quid in a trading account, that'll be using up, you know, you won't be able to do any other trades because you're already using £402 of your account. So obviously you shouldn't be trading at £1 a pip anyway, should you? You should be trading at, let's say if you're trading at 10p a pip, if you had £500 in your account, if you're trading at 10p a pip, then obviously this is going to reduce by tenfold, so then your margin comes back down to £40. And so if you're only using £40 of margin and you've got £500 in a trading account, you can see where I'm coming from. That's responsible trading. It's you're trading at the right amount relative to the size of your account. So for most of you, when you're only risking 1% of your trading account anyway, so let's now go take a typical, it's not, I say typical, I'm just going to put £10,000 in as an account size, just to make it easy on my little brain when it comes to the maths. Okay, so at £10,000, we know if you're risking about 1% per trade, that equals £100. Okay, you should only be risking roughly £100. All right, some people risk a bit over 1%, some a bit, and obviously others a bit below. But let's say around about 1%. So you should be risking about £100 on each trade. Okay, so if you're risking £100, and let's say you take a trade and the trade requires a stop loss of 50 pips. Am I going to be able to work this out? Oh. Okay, so we've got a stop loss of 50 pips. So that means that you can trade at £2 a pip. Okay, £2 a pip with a 50 pip stop means that you would be risking your £100, which is therefore 1% of your entire account. So at £2 a pip, what did I say the risk was? It was £402 for each £1 stake that you trade at. So your margin requirement is £804. Now I'm hoping that many of you are starting to breathe a sigh of relief here, because you're going to think, oh okay, so I'm still, if I'm trading the way that I've been taught, which is the correct way as far as risk management is concerned, in actual fact that's going to use up £804 of margin of my £10,000 account. That's just on that one trade. I can still be running, you know, a few different positions at the same time. If I'm trading the way that I should be trading, then in actual fact these proposed and the new margin requirements coming in are not going to overly affect me. So hopefully that really clears things up for everybody. You can change these figures to whatever, but basically if you're trading at your normal sort of 1%, even 2% at risk, as you can see, you're still absolutely fine. It's really coming in to stop those gamblers and the people who are at the, I say at the bottom end of the market, but you still have gamblers trading with £10,000, trading at huge margin and stuff. So it's really there to stop the people who are just using too much leverage relative to their size accounts. Those of you that are just used to trading at 1% at risk-ish, then it's really not going to affect you too much. So hopefully that clears things up on this Good Friday, and hopefully I've got all those figures correct. I think they're roughly right. So there you go. For the majority of you, it's not really going to affect you. For those of you that might have £300 in a trading account, then and you've been trading at £1 a point, well, you've been trading too rich to that anyway. For those of you right at that low level, then you might have to either trade more responsibly and trade much lower position sizes relative to your size account, or you're going to have to increase the size of your account in order to make sure you're trading responsibly relative to the size of that. Hopefully that helps you. Enjoy your long weekends, and we'll be back in touch next week.